I believe that this is going to open your eyes up more than they might already be. And what I say here, there's fire testing going on in my building. It already stopped me from making a video earlier in my day, and I wouldn't say it was by Satan, but if you hear that, just know that that's what it is. They just came through my room and did that, which I put a card over, which muffles the sound. It's so loud. Where in the world did this transgender agenda begin? And I am well aware, I'm going to read you an article that's going to blow your mind of what it says at the end. Follow the money, right? That's all we want we just want the truth. We're born again. And I know people who are watching this, probably because of the title, are not born again. And I pray that you find Jesus Christ, because I'll be quite honest, I believe that they're trying to erase who we are. Our genetics, they can change our genetics with, man, it's like code. There's nothing that humans will not be able to do. That's what it says in Genesis. Now, I want to bring something to the forefront here of a scripture. I'm not going to read it, but you probably know where it is in Daniel, where it says that the iron will not mix with clay, miry clay. We also know that knowledge shall increase and many shall run to and fro. Whatever that means, I could say per year, I believe. I read the stats. I love stats. It was like 4 billion. It may even be 5 billion people travel on a plane every single year. Can you imagine that? Many of those people are, some of those people are 10 times just per person. That's more than half the population. I think it's closing in on 5 billion. Knowledge is increasing at exponential rates, and that could have made the scripture fulfilled 100 years ago, because it was increasing. Not as quick as it is now. We're in a time where it is exponential, where it doubles, triples, whatever you want to call it, where they're aiming for super general intelligence. They have it, okay? They're way ahead of us. There's things that they can only tell us so much. That's why you see these things flying around that people can't identify, but they made them. They made them. If this cuts off for any reason, go to part 2 or even part 3, because I think this is going to open your eyes tremendously. So where do I begin? I remember seeing a video. So the question is, what is with this transgender agenda? Where is it coming from? Who's perpetuating? What's the reason? I have found the reason. There may be another one, but I bet you've never heard this one before. I bet you haven't. So, around 2020, a lot of people started writing about, during COVID too, when people were trapped and new people would be reading stuff. A whole bunch of magazines, and you'll see at the end of this article, just started talking about it. It was obvious that we weren't talking about this before, and it became a thing. And now you got all the youth on the internet, where it's the all-seeing eye. Everyone is looking. There's very persuasive people who are fooling with their children. When I think of, I didn't fall for things easily, but there's a lot of kids who do. And, we're very suggestive. You can easily trick a child. You can easily trick a child, a teenager, and even older. So, where's it coming from? This is about money. Make no mistake, but it's about something else too. And there's a lot of evil behind it. They will monetize you and I any way they can. They will monetize you and I any way they can. there is a video that I would like to play. If this cuts off, watch the next one. I'm not sure if I read the article first and then this. But you know Anderson Cooper, you know his rich family, the Vanderbilts, right? I remember seeing this about 3 years ago. And this was a woman who, I guess, is a spokesperson for all kinds of surgeries, and one of them is transgender. Getting your butt done, getting your rhinoplasty, and she's bragging about how much they can make off certain things. I may just leave that and play a bit of it, but she's bragging about it. And I believe it may have been this video that everyone saw, that they stopped doing transgender surgeries because people started to come down on them. I'm going to read some of the article first. It's a long article, and not a good time for my voice to go. I have a dystonic-like voice disorder. Trying to see if I missed anything. Let's just read this. So, you know, we want to know where these things are coming from, right? You never really hear much about, you know, here are these agendas were being pushed. We're so stressed. We're so, you know, the forming mind. Well, this person, I believe this is one of an article that has been scrubbed off the internet probably a number of times. And I'm going to read it. This was March 24th, 2024. Jonathan Van Maren. Let's read it. It's a 15-minute read. I first came across investigative journalist Jennifer Bullock's work in 2020 when her essay, The Billionaires, that's the title of this, The Billionaires. It's the billionaires behind this, of course, behind the LGBT movement, was published in First Things. It was a stunning piece. There are several journalists committed to exposing the transgender movement, or industry. It's not movement, it's industry. There was a movement, very, 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 very small, but they gave it gas. Or industry, as Bullock calls it, but no one has peeled away the facade of civil rights, pink and blue flags, and trans kids like Bullock. If we had a mainstream press truly committed to uncovering and reporting the truth about the forces driving our culture today, her work would be cited by them across the board. Wait till the end. The end is going to blow you away. There was something that I had to question myself, and it turns out it's true. Bullock is an artist, activist, and investigative journalist based out of New York City, and her work has been published in Tablet Magazine, The Federalist, The Post-Millennial, and elsewhere. Bullock spent her life on the left, but she now says that she is in the political wilderness, reporting on the biggest cultural story of our day, while progressives ignore it or cover it up. Bullock also runs the Substack, Jennifer's newsletter, and the blog, The 11th Hour, where she explains her focus. I'm going to read the whole thing, guys. I write at the intersection of humanity, technology, and runaway capitalism. At this intersection stands transgenderism, which what I believe is a glamorous ad campaign generated by elites, invested in tech and pharmacia to normalize the changing of human biology. I know there's going to be comments in my comment section talking about gene editing and mRNA and stuff like that. I don't know a lot about that, but I know the Moderna injection probably nearly killed me. Myocarditis. I was never diagnosed because my heart was imaged a year later, so it was too late to look. Because I was complaining about abdominal pain, I got a permanent gallbladder disorder, biliary hyperkinesia. It was myocarditis. Bullock is doing something that journalists used to do instinctively, follow the money. What she has uncovered is a bombshell that reveals the extent to which the transgender phenomenon has been created by super wealthy LGBT donors who have a dark and sinister agenda. Her journalism supplies the missing pieces needed to complete the picture and how and why the transgender movement so swiftly achieved cultural dominance. Babylon. Balek kindly agreed to an interview in which she shared what she uncovered thus far. So he's talking to her. You've done groundbreaking reporting on the extent to which billionaires have been quietly backing this movement behind the scenes. To what extent are the cultural shifts we've seen in the past few years astroturfed by big donors? So, the cultural shifts we see today regarding gender identity are largely influenced by huge capital inflows from governments, philanthropy, right? Corporations and investment management and accounting firms like BlackRock. Now, do I have that? BlackRock. Let's find it. I should have pulled that one up. I'll find it right away. Now let's listen to what he says. This is a short.
At BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors. If you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay? You have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And ultimately, it's still going to take time, but I am just as much shocked as Ken is that we have not seen more opportunities. We're going to have to force change.
We're going to have to force change.
How do you force change, though? How do you do something more radical? Have you thought about that? Has the board of American Express thought about more radical things we could do to enhance diversity and inclusion?
Every citizen of the firm has to understand what is acceptable behaviors and what are unacceptable behaviors. If we are not a mirror,
this guy's evil, man.
Who our clients are,
Larry
we're
Fink.
going to fail. You have to
force behaviors. So these are the people behind it. Don't look anywhere else. This is where it is. He is accountable for $13.5 trillion. I looked at the list of companies under it. There's 4,500. And so you wonder why CEOs are committing suicide by putting stuff in their stores, because he's forcing behaviors. What is this anyways? Man, if you think that I'm speaking with passion and I'm mad, it's because I am. So should you be. But it's just a sign of the end times. Man, just think of what he just said. Go look that up. BlackRock forcing behaviors, you'll find it. This guy should be in jail. Like BlackRock and Ernst & Young. So this is older too, this article. 2 years. While some believe that the ideology originated in universities, funding is directed to these institutions to promote the idea of synthetic sex identities as progressive. So you think it's like coming from the left, which students then carry into the world. Universities. Where do you think they go? They go to our kids. Get them young. It's a satanic agenda. To comprehend the motivations of governments, philanthropists, and big business in this ideology, we must examine its implications. Gender ideology deconstructs human reproductive sex legally, linguistically, socially, and is also attacking most young people's reproductive organs, healthy, by sterilizing them. You know, man, I've seen things about Bill Gates and sterilizing tetanus shots. So when people get them, their sperm will be worth nothing. It's marketing dissociation from sexed reality presented as progressive, which is especially confusing to young people in using their naturally rebellious youthfulness, so they know they can use that as a weapon, as a corporate trap. We live in a day where it's okay to make money off of anything you can. That's America. That's America. Both the money and the ideology come out of the medical tech sector. They're intertwined. And the hospitals, everything, which is itself being integrated into culture through a philanthropic structure that has been attached to the LGBTQ civil rights political apparatus. The Arcus Foundation, one of the largest LGBTQ non-governmental operations, NGO, I forget what that stands for, plays a central role in this regard, not only providing extensive funding to a plethora of institutions, but so you have these huge companies and then, the money goes out like this and you're blanketed by DEI, Tim Hortons, all of them. And you wonder why you're being taken over by mass immigration while they're taking your jobs. This is it. In the LGBTQ constituency, John Stryker, the founder of Arcus, has a background in banking and is the heir to the corporate fortune that is Stryker Medical. Stryker Medical, with its ventures into the facial feminization surgery market, exemplifies the interconnection between the agenda, political apparatus, and the medical tech industry. The Pritzker family in Chicago is one of the richest families in all of America. Through their fortune evolved out of Hyatt hotel industry. Wait for the end. Their predominant investments now are in the medical tech sector. Their massive philanthropic efforts have made them some of the biggest drivers and funders of the gender industry. The Pritzker family. Tim Gill, the Gill Foundation, the second largest NGO in America, LGBTQ, and connected to John Stryker and his family, contributes significantly as well. Originally coming from, follow the money, coming from the tech sector, and now involved in a home AI platform business. It's coming from Silicon Valley and big pharma. These tech giants, Google, Intel, Microsoft, Facebook, Salesforce, Hewlett-Packard, they're not naming them all, and Amazon, leverage their financial power to both fund this industry in both dissociation and also to browbeat entire states to accept the ideology by threatening the withdrawal of their capital. Right? It's about money. They did this in 2016 when they signed an amicus brief against North Carolina. After that, the state insisted on bathroom privacy for boys and girls in schools. Sorry, what did that say? I thought I saw that differently. Just give me a second. I'll just keep reading. The rapid proliferation of this, I thought it said something different the first time I read it. It's only my second time. The rapid proliferation of this ideology is attributed to tremendous financial pressure and mainstream media censorship of critics. We've seen it, cancel culture, which aligns with the media's ownership by the medical tech industry. COVID. There was something to that, and it's attached to this too. It's all attached. The intertwining of the conglomerates like Hearst, Con, Nast, and Disney. It's all the big companies, man. It's all of them. With prominent pharma platforms, contributes to the pervasive influence of the techno-medical complex in America. The tech and medical industries thrive, like all industries, in creating and compartmentalizing new products, a trend seen in the LGBTQ civil rights movement, which was originally a grassroots movement that became corporatized during the AIDS crisis in the 1980s. I remember that. And they came out with that movie with Tom Hanks. I forget what that was that Philadelphia? American transsexualism, rooted in the, and look at him now. American transsexualism, rooted in the medical establishment, dates to the 50s, with the medical assault on reproductive organs. This is a satanic agenda from Satan himself. But you'll see the outcome of why The LGBTQ community transformed into a profitable investment and marketing constituency after the AIDS crisis. The addition of transsexualism, rebranded as transgender, for marketing purposes, introduces a new perspective on sexual identities, further normalizing the detachment of humanity from its foundational roots in sexual production. You know, you have like these Senate hearings, and these doctors are saying that men can give babies, men can have babies. It's just sick. Those are the people that people like J. Edgar Hoover would kick out of the country without any issue. And I know he was, I understand that, but he kicked out communist is what I'm saying. If any name I could have chosen. So, how has big money impacted the trajectory and influence? Because he was transgender. Or he was, whatever you want to call it. He liked dressing up in women's clothes. How has big money impacted the trajectory and influence of the transgender movement? I prefer to characterize this phenomenon as an industry rather than a movement. An industry. That's what this is. This is what it is. But there's more, like Ephesians says, right? The focus lies on the creation of synthetic simulacrums of human reproductive characteristics marketed for profit and human engineering. Contrary to a genuine human rights movement for the marginalized, synthetic sex characteristics are a corporate illusion. Thus, those adopting them in an attempt to disown reality are not marginalized, nor are they a subcategory of our species, reproductive sex. The term transgender doesn't mean anything in regards to people. It lacks a clear, universal accepted definition, encompassing various and often contradictory meanings. It's just dysphoria, right? It attempts to cover, and then there's people who think they are and go and they transition, and then there's people who really are, like they feel that dysphoria. And in no way am I trying to hurt anyone in this. You know my heart. That's how my channel's called The Heart of David. My purpose is to find what's going on. It attempts to cover a broad spectrum from medical assaults impacting healthy reproductive organs to non-medical expressions of feeling about a sex role stereotypes, sometimes involving surgery and drugs and sometimes not. They make money anyways, in some ways, right? Is it a sexual fetish or a form of resistance against culturally assigned behavioral norms based on one's sex? That's a question. The concept of a cohesive community termed transgender is equally as elusive. Instead, transgenderism emerges as a conglomerate driven by corporate pressures, grooming both adults and, more significantly, children into industrial body dissociation as a business, a thriving business. Have you seen that Jeffrey guy? You know who I'm talking about? The one who gets kids to walk away from their parents? He's transgender. That person would have been arrested 15 years ago without a thought. That's grooming kids. Put a stumbling block in front of a child, you know what the Bible says. Fueled by additional capital from investors and philanthropists, an industry dedicated to dissociation from the sexed body has experienced explosive growth. Individuals who may not fully comprehend the nature of this industry are profiting from it. Notable figures like Whoopi Goldberg are associated with modeling agencies catering to those attempting to disown their sex. Artists capture images of individuals with synthetic sex identities. TV programs feature characters attempting to dissociate socially and medically from their sexed reality. And law firms profit from lawsuits. Think about it. Think of just how every facet of society. They benefit. Why would they want to stop? They may have a cure for cancer. Why would they want to cure cancer? I do believe it's possible. And law firms profit from lawsuits involving those wanting to disown their sex or protect their legal category of sex. It's a whole new industry just in law. To be able to hear backroom talk, I'm going to show you something too. The propaganda generated by this revenue stream has deeply entrenched the ideology of transitioning sex into the market. A simple Google search for transgender magazine covers for 2020 reveals an abundance of magazines conveying a consistent message. It's noteworthy that these publications are part of conglomerates with medical tech platforms and investments, enjoying support from asset management firms like who? BlackRock. They own. Remember the Pennsylvania train there? It was going to have a levee, which means the whole train was going to blow up. And then they remember that, right? East Palestine, right before actual Palestine. Well, I don't know. I forget the year, but people thought that was really coincidental. Oh, no, because there was a movie or a TV show that was in the same place, right? It's the same thing. But that was, they're wondering, why don't you take it off the tracks? Why don't you do this or that? Because it was BlackRock that was over it. I'm not saying I know anything much further than that, but to show you just how vast they own the rail tracks, they own. So what are the primary goals and motives of those pouring money into the LGBT organizations? The primary catalysts driving the gender industry are rooted in technological developments entwined with an unfettered market. Medical sex identities, along with technological reproduction, are at the. I didn't do cocaine or anything. My nose is just itchy. Are at the forefront of attempts to advance our species beyond our current human borders. I'm just joking about that. The strategic linking of an agenda aimed at deconstructing reproductive sex with the civil rights movement centered on the same attraction. So they see the catalyst, right? The catalyst is these kids. They'll take what we say and run with it. They'll do our advertising. You get that's a perfect weapon right there. They'll do it for us. Just put your products out. Open the doctors up. Medical sex identities, along with technological reproduction, are at the forefront of attempts to advance our species beyond our current human borders. The strategic linking of an agenda aimed at deconstructing reproductive sex with the civil rights movement centered on same-sex attraction was pure genius, a metaphorical fox in the henhouse, but dressed as a hen. 2 paragraphs left. We are on the brink of breakthroughs in genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, artificial reproduction. You saw those videos, where you could put them in one of those. It could be an artificial womb in a robot, or ones you've probably seen those commercials. I do believe they have it already. Each comprising significant industries. The convergence of these fields indicates a trajectory towards a future that transcends our current human state. Media outlets and tech gurus emerging from Silicon Valley have, since the 2000s, driven a narrative predicting a more integral fusion of humans with AI. You hear that now? Envisioning the creation of a hybrid species. You should start to get it now. The burgeoning tech reproductive market, already valued at $27 billion, aligns with the broader trend of viewing the interior of the human body as a lucrative marketing landscape. They'll do anything for money. With the development of injections capable of altering our DNA, there is apparent potential for profitability in treating the human body, fetuses, and women's reproductive organs as canvases for tech interventions. Both. The tech reproduction industry seems like a harbinger of a future in which reproduction without copulation or gestation may be the norm. The gender identity narrative serves these marketing ventures as it reduces our wholly sexed humanity to commodities. That is evil, man. Is that not evil at its core? The only other thing I could think worse than that is sacrificing your children to Molech. But this is a vehicle to it. Like, who are some of the most significant contributors to the transgender movement? Gilead Sciences emerges as a leading supporter of this movement, with other notable contributors including George Soros, Open Society, Gill, Arcus, Ford, Astrea, Tides, Evelyn, and Walter Haas, David Bonnet, Wells Fargo, and Pride Foundations. There's thousands of them, okay? I read the list. They can't give them all. The Arcus Foundation, backed by the founder's stock and the $130 billion medical corporation, extends its support to organizations such as the Astrea Foundation, and it plays a pivotal role in creating a political infrastructure. This infrastructure supports organizations like GLSEN, which is the Gilead Sciences, which introduces gender ideology in schools, and GLAD, which is responsible for shaping media discourse on this industry by promoting it as a human right. You've seen it through the movies. It's all through our movies, where the man is a weakling and the woman is, and they're putting it in. We live in a satanic agenda. Like, you can find something satanic in every single one. And it's this agenda. That's what it is. Inclusion. The funding also supports the Victory Institute, which trains leaders for political roles that can influence policies to support this industry. MAP, M-A-P, is another foundation that tracks the philanthropic funding cultivated by these organizations. Keep listening. Martine Rothblatt stands as another influential figure in this societal transformation. Formerly known as Martin, Rothblatt adopted synthetic simulacrums of, I don't know what that means, simulated something, of women's holy sexed humanity, and now identifies as a woman, describing himself as transhuman. Rothblatt advocates for human augmentation that challenges traditional concepts of sex. This includes advocating for the melding of humans with AI, virtual reality, tech reproduction, and other transformative technologies. Rothblatt, along with other transsexual lawyers, so they get in positions and they change things, laws, drafted the first gender bill aimed to secure rights for individuals undergoing augmentation to change their physical reality. Rothblatt was mentored by Ray Kurzweil of Google and by William Sims Bainbridge, the head of National Science Foundation's Cyber Human Systems Program. So with LGBTQ organizations with LGBTQ organizations receiving enormous infusions of cash from financial backers, how can small grassroots groups push back? Initially, it's crucial to inform people about the substantial financial investments directed towards illusory constituency. There are no transgender individuals. So what exactly are these funds supporting? They're fueling an effort to confer human rights upon a segment of the population who are seeking to disown their humanity. Just a little bit of people are screwing everything up for us. That's what they're doing to us. I'm saying this is what they've done to us. A concept that warrants closer examination. By reframing the narrative away from human rights from the marginalized towards rights for those attempting to disown their humanity, we can offer a fresh perspective. Gender rights in this context serve as a political groundwork for the burgeoning rights discourse surrounding artificial intelligence, or cyborgs, in the early stages. Do you understand what's happening here? Equally, the Daniel's prophecy. Equally important is the need to reclaim language. Every time we use their fabricated terms like transgender or gender identity or correct pronoun usage, we inadvertently reinforce the notion of people existing outside the boundaries of our species' biological sex. Emphasizing clarity over the expedience of communication is vital. People are not speaking up. and you get punished if you do because, well, everything is run by them. I'm saying by the people, the corporations. Rather than responding to questions as if transgender is a genuine category, a more effective approach is to inquire about its meaning. So when someone says that to you, you say, what is the meaning of it? Challenging the assumed understanding. Similarly, interrupting and reframing statements like trans people by suggesting, do you mean individuals attempting to disown their sex reality? Because that's what it is. Can reshape the discourse. It's the people who are unfortunately dealing with this, with gender dysphoria, those who originally had it at first, felt it throughout their whole life. I mean, God bless them, right? That's a hard thing to go through. But then there's those who are tricked into it, and that's why you see an explosive growth of it. Because it's done by them through brainwashing. Oh, I forget what I was going to say anyways, but let's continue to read this. Just say the truth. Do you mean individuals attempting to disown their sex reality can reshape the discourse? They're trying to there it is, BlackRock. We force behaviors. DEI. Lastly, change can't be achieved in isolation, whether by organizing a collective effort or by working individually. Taking action is imperative. You don't see much of this, right? Leverage your strengths, speak unwaveringly of the truth, and resist the temptation to appease. This predatory industry has set its sights on the next generation. You don't think they're already targeting some child who's been born? Children are being born right now. They have something coming for them. That's why God is coming. That's why Jesus Christ is going to come and destroy these people. And we're going to watch this judgment. The truth grounded in, This predatory industry has set its sights on the next generation, demanding that even those unfamiliar with activism step forward. The truth grounded in biological reality is our strongest ally, and it always will be, supported by the entirety of the living world. So you understand, this is Satan trying to change our genes, trying to take women out of the picture. I'm the independent woman now, right? Put them in. And I don't mean anything by this, but you have to admit our world kind of went downhill after, you give them the vote, then it's women's rights and it's feminism. Look where it's taken us. I'm not saying women are not equal to us or should be treated equally to us, because I believe we should. We're all one in Christ. But women with emotions in power is never a good thing. Now, sure, there's good women leaders, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to go here to AI itself. Listen, if you're using the computer, you're using AI now, so don't blame me for anything. I use it to study. I asked it a question. What was my question here? Let's go to the question. At the end of this article, is she claiming that the purpose of transgenderism is to bring in AI and transhumanism? That was my question. Let's go down to what it answered. Just regular ChatGPT. I gave it the whole article. That was my natural question. Yes, at the end of the article, she is clearly claiming that what she calls transgenderism is part of the larger push towards AI, genetic engineering, and transhumanism. Specifically, she argues that the gender industry is not about civil rights, but about normalizing alteration of human biology. Wow. So do you get it? They start to normalize this stuff because they know that it would be unacceptable to people like you and I. But they're trying to outnumber us now so that when they bring in AI, no one will have a problem with it. And then the only people left are the saints. And then they're going to kill us and behead us anyways. That's okay. To live is gain, to die is Christ. That's what I have to say. And you know what? let's see that video. I just want to play this. This is Vanderbilt. This is she didn't know she was being filmed, and there was a lot of pushback for this. I don't know if you can hear this, but I'll turn it up.
Carriers are mandated to cover medical expenses for trans folks. Some of our BUMC financial folks in October of 2016, starting a couple of years ago, put down some costs of how much money we think each patient would bring in, and this is only including top surgery. This isn't including any bottom surgery, and it's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money.
Make a lot of money.
So female to male chest reconstruction could bring in $40,000. A patient just on routine hormone treatment, who I'm only seeing a few times a year, can bring in several $1,000s. So that requires a lot of visits and labs. It actually makes money for the hospital. Now these I got from the internet, but it's from the Philadelphia Center for Transgender Surgery, which does a lot of surgery for patients. And I just want to give you an idea of how much bottom surgeries are making. And I think this has to be an underestimate. This is for a vaginoplasty.
Vaginoplasty.
They're quoting roughly around $20,000 for a vaginoplasty, but that doesn't include your hospital stay. That doesn't include your post-op visits. That doesn't include your anesthesia, your OR. So I would think that this has to be a gross underestimate. I think that's just like the surgeon's piece of it, which anybody who's ever been in the hospital knows that that's like 10% of it.
Only 10%.
And the female to male bottom surgeries, these are huge money makers. Again, I think this has to be an underestimate.
Male bottom surgeries are a big money maker.
They're quoting around $20,000 for a phalloplasty. There's been different things that I've read that said it could be up to $100,000.
Up to $100,000.
Dr. Winokur, who's our surgeon, says that there's entire clinics where the entire clinic is supported just by their phalloplasties, and that is like a fraction of the surgeries that they're doing. These surgeries are labor intensive. They require a lot of follow-ups.
That's about all it is. I hope you could hear all that. She's proud of how much money of vaginoplasty, which is inverting a man's penis, right, and turning it into a cavity, and all these other surgeries, and one was so lucrative that all they did in this clinic is that they all feed off one another. The tech sector, the medical, the big pharma, they all do. And who do you think owns the airwaves? Prince of the power of the air, and BlackRock. They have the most, and the question is who and why. Yeah, I know Larry Fink is doing this, but who told him to? It's anyone's best guess. And I hope you learned something in this video, guys. I will send you I'll put the article and I'll put the videos. So there's a BlackRock forcing behaviors. There was that woman that does in Vanderbilt, and I'll put the article. God bless, guys. This is where we are. Are they pushing the trend? Well, that's what it's saying. That they're doing the transgender thing for us to accept transhumanism. Now, is that altogether true? There's a lot more to it, but that is one of the truths.